Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another episode. And yes, this one we are going to be talking about the Ottawa Senators, their depth chart, and their notable players for fantasy. But before I do that, guys, obviously it's been a really tough couple of days for the hockey world and the hockey community as a whole. And I gotta say, when I heard the news, I was in absolute tears. I love Johnny Hockey, and I remember when he first got into the league and the excitement he was generating here in Canada. He was someone that everybody was talking about, and he was just such an exciting, dynamic player to watch his whole career. And man, I honestly, it really hurt to hear the news because I idolized him. I love Johnny Gaudreau, and it's such a long life ahead of him. And unfortunately, life isn't fair sometimes, and that didn't deserve what happened to him. And no one should ever be drinking and driving. It's so terrible. And my prayers and thoughts go out to their families and his sister, who was supposed to be getting married this weekend, and his wife and his kids, as well as his brother and his family. It's just such a terrible thing that happened, and so preventable, so easily could have not happened. You know, if you drink too much, just don't drive, guys. And that it's as simple as that. Call an Uber, ask a friend to take you home, whatever it is, just don't drive. So today I'm just gonna have one moment of silence for Johnny and for his family. Thank you for sharing that moment with me, guys. I'm having a really hard time coping with the fact that Johnny is no longer with us, especially in a time in my life that was supposed to be so joyful. I'm actually getting married today, the day that this video is going live, which I'm so excited for. I have a beautiful, amazing fiance, and I'm excited to make her my wife. Let's jump into the Ottawa Senators content now, guys, and let's take a look at the Senators lines. Second line, David Perron, Josh Norris, or Claude Giroux. Third line, Ridley Greig, Shane Pinto, and Michael Amadio. But Norris is known to be pretty injury prone, so Pinto may end up playing second line, or honestly, if he impresses a little bit more in training camp, he could also end up there. I like Pinto a lot. On defense, Sanderson, Zub, Chabot, and Jensen are their top four. First guy on this list is Brady Tkachuk, and he is obviously a really great player to be drafting in fantasy, especially if you have hits and shots counting in your league, which at this point in time, most leagues do have hits and shots. And he just offers such a safe floor every single night because he just shoots and hits a ridiculous amount. And he's also going to score a very safe amount of points. I absolutely love Brady Tkachuk, and I actually have him ranked at 6 overall. The NHL has him ranked at 9, and he's currently going at an ADP of 9.3. So if you do have those categories in your league, Brady Tkachuk's an absolute steal at his current ADP. But if you're in a pure points league, take him appropriately, guys. He's going to get about 70-something points, so don't take him in the same round as you would take someone who's going to get 100 points. This doesn't make a lot of sense. Next guy on this list is Tim Stützle, who I currently have ranked at 62 overall. NHL has him ranked at 63, and his current ADP is 60. So we have a pretty big consensus here that he should go around that range. But honestly, guys, his ceiling is a lot higher than that, and I think that he could end up being even better this year. I think drafting him there is pretty solid. The next guy on my list is Claude Giroux, who NHL has ranked at 108. I currently have ranked around 150, but his current ADP is actually 179, and he has that center eligibility, but he also has that right wing eligibility, which actually makes him kind of valuable. That late in the draft, I definitely don't mind going after Claude Giroux, especially since he probably sees top line or second line time and likely top power play time. Next guy on this list is Linus Ullmark, who is now their starting goalie and should get the vast majority of the starts in Ottawa. He's definitely someone who should help their team quite a bit. He's a very good goalie. I currently have him ranked at 87. He's going around the 90 range, and NHL has him ranked 132. Now, it really depends how Ottawa does, but I do see an improvement from this team this year. So a rank around 90, getting him as a starting goalie, is not too bad. I don't hate that pickup. He's definitely not my favorite goalie this year because he's definitely not the safest because, Ottawa could choke again and he could have a little bit of a rough season, but I'm not too worried about that happening. The next guy on this list is Drake Batherson. And he's a right winger, which is great because right wingers are kind of hard to come by in fantasy. So he is a very good one to be having. But his current ADP is a little bit high at 94.2. I have him ranked at 122. NHL has him ranked at 145. But again, he definitely could live up to that ADP. We know how talented this guy is. And I could even see him hitting or exceeding that ADP. So if you are needing a right winger and he's the best one available to you, I don't hate drafting him, even if it's a bit higher than what I have him ranked at. The next guy on this list is Thomas Chabot, who NHL has ranked at 192. I personally have ranked at 235, and his ADP currently is about 152. So it's a lot higher than I have him ranked or NHL has him ranked. And the reason I do have him ranked so low is a couple of factors. One, he can never seem to stay healthy the full season. And two, I do see Jake Sanderson getting that top power play time this year and getting those extra opportunities, and Chabot not getting those opportunities this year. So it's really just that. I still think he could be a top 50 defenseman this year, but I'm not overly high on him. Somebody I am high on that NHL doesn't seem to be high on is Jake Sanderson. NHL has him unranked, but I have him ranked around 200, but he is going pretty early at an ADP of 132. I think Sanderson might have a breakout season this year, in which case my ranking is still too low. I think he might do really well with those block shots and start scoring a whole lot of points on that Senators power play. Obviously, that Senators power play has to actually click together and be half decent for that to happen, but I could see that happening. I don't think it's the worst pick at 132, but it is definitely a little bit risky when there are some much safer picks available in that range. Now, the next guy is Shane Pinto, who doesn't have an ADP currently and is only being drafted in 11% of leagues. Now, I'm actually quite high on Shane Pinto this year. He could see some real top 6 minutes if Norris gets injured or if he really proves himself in training camp, and he really showed some of the potential that he has in the half season he played last year. He shot the puck 2.7 times per game and honestly had a pretty low shooting percentage and on-ice shooting percentage. I have him ranked at 155, but realistically could end up finishing even higher. He's a legitimate breakout candidate this season if he does get the opportunity in the top 6. All right, so the next guy I have on this list is Josh Norris, who's unranked by NHL and is only being drafted in 12% of leagues at no ADP in Yahoo. And personally, I have him ranked at 157. And this is actually with an injury-prone penalty applied to him. Now, if he actually stays healthy the whole season, he's a Verge top 100 player. He's going to get top 6 minutes, probably top power play time. He is really, really good and is being really undervalued this year. You can easily probably get him with your last pick of the draft this year, which could be a huge steal. The only thing is you got to cross your fingers that he stays healthy at least the majority of the year. If he does get injured, grab Shane Pinto, and there you go. You have a perfect replacement for him. So honestly, that could be a really good strategy if you do end up drafting Josh Norris, and he should get you quite a lot of fantasy points. The next guy on this list is David Perron. If you've been watching this channel for a few years, you know that I absolutely love David Perron. But I no longer have faith in his abilities to put up huge fantasy numbers at his current age. He's 36 now, and his best days are behind him, unfortunately. That being said, he could still get top 6 minutes in Ottawa and should have a pretty decent year. I have him ranked at 202 this year, but he has pretty limited upside. Next, I have Ridley Greig, and he was really solid in his rookie campaign last year, putting up numbers when the Sens had a lot of injuries. This year, he'll probably have a solid year, but I don't think he'll have too much fantasy impact, likely only getting third line minutes. His fantasy relevance really this year is an add in deep leagues when Ottawa has a favorable schedule, at least for the time being. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed my content today, drop a like and hit that subscribe button. And please, send out all your best vibes and best intentions to the Gaudreau family right now. They do definitely really need it. I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.